y'all, and welcome back to another episode of Catch That, where we analyze, dig deep, and really talk honestly about R&B artists, albums, and eras, and much more with people in the industry and other music experts. I am naturally Elise, that's my bro.
JR.
And we are the R&B representatives. And today we are welcoming back a very good friend of the show, one of my best friends, Mr. Keith Murphy. Hey.
What's popping, y'all? What's going on?
Nothing much. We are doing well, and we are excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. And for those of you under a rock who do not know Keith Murphy, he is a journalist. He is a writer. He is a editor. He is a music
checks in the mail. Checks in the mail, Elise. Thank you.
He said it for me. I just wanted you to say that for me. I stole your stick. I'm like, checks in the mail. But yeah, like I said, we're so glad to have him back again.
Thank you.
Yes, he's been the guest on some of our biggest interviews. Well, not interviews, but conversations on the show. So, yay. So, JR.
Yes.
How about you tell the folks what we're talking about and why?
Okay. So as Elise was saying, Keith has been on he was actually our first Catch That actually when we did our 90s conversation. Then he came on and we did Prince's Signs of the Time. And then we did Michael Jackson's Dangerous. So we can really talk about anything with Keith, for real. So me and Elise was just like, yo, we got to get him back on. What can we talk about? So I was just thinking, and I was like, well, nobody has picked Anita album. And she was like, there it is. So I was like, all right, well, let's talk about Anita Baker's compositions. And she was like, cool, so let's do it. So we're going to talk about it, y'all. We're going to get into each of the songs. Y'all know how we do on here. We just going to get deep with it and talk about it, what we like, what we don't like, all that good stuff. So Keith, when you first heard this album, first of all, how did you even get into Anita? First of all, let's get into that.
Well, you have those aunties and those older cousins that play music when they're cleaning up, right? You clean up with the house and you play the music. And I believe the first time I really heard her was Angel on the Songstress album. Oddly enough, that wasn't really a huge album. You had to be a music head to be into that album. That album became a cult classic later on. But when it first came out, it was like, oh man, who is this chick, So I started getting into that, and then of course, the Rapture and and the compositions and giving the best that I've got. I mean, it's like she's become such this staple now for Black folks and just for music in general, that is almost like, when hasn't she been around? It's almost like she's just part of the DNA now. So you don't even know exactly when you first heard her, because she's just always been around culture.
Y'all, my family wasn't big Anita Baker fans at all. I knew her from her singles, but I didn't know the albums until I got into junior high school, when I started getting into really finding music for myself. So when I first heard the Songstress album, I remember hearing Angel. That was it. I ain't hear The Best Thing Yet and Will You Be Mine, and I didn't know any of that until I listened to this album. And I remember when I was playing this album and I was listening to it, and my mom was like, are you listening to Anita? I was like, yeah. And she was like, oh, okay. She gave me that, and I'm like, well, you didn't like her? And then she was like, well, she was cool. And my mom was like, I had her hair cut, I had that, but I wasn't the biggest fan of her music. And when Elise, remember when I told you they kind of put Anita in that Sade category, because my family wasn't big Sade fans. So I had to find all of this on my own. So finally, when I went and I'm listening to these albums and I'm rocking to it, I'm like, Ma, y'all missing out, because this is some good music here. I don't know what you were talking about. She was like, okay. And she gave me that, and that was it. So I finally went through her catalog, and let me tell you something. When I heard Composition, I was like, yo, this is my favorite album from her. I was like, off the break. Like, I know everybody go to Rapture. That's kind of like everybody's perfect album, which I do agree with. But it's like, I don't see a lot of people talking about Compositions, which is crazy to me, but I get too, because it wasn't like a big, she didn't have that big commercial single off of it. It wasn't like huge, like Sweet Love and Giving You the Best That I Got and those type of joints. So I get it, but I'm like, this album is amazing. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my intro to Anita, because my family was not here for her. Sorry.
Oh, see, I came from a very, very pro Anita agenda home and family.
Wow.
It is like he said, I don't really remember her not being around.
Right.
But also with Compositions, by the time Compositions came along, that was 90. That's when I really, really was paying attention to music in a serious way for the first time. So I was all over this. My mom had the record. Like I was all over Compositions, because that was just that time of when I was like, oh, music light bulb is on. Okay, I must ingest all of it, you know. So
right. It was an interesting period, that album, because I think a lot of those artists, you know, the Quiet Storm artists of that era, they were just getting bombarded by New Jack Swing, and it was just really, really like you could see what was happening with especially with Black radio, because you know that was a point where Nita and Luther and Peebo and Sade exists in her own world. Like she's always going to be around no matter what era. But they had a lock on Black radio in the 80s for the most part. And then by around 88, 89, things started changing. So that album, when I listen to the album, I hear the fact that, like she's going out, she's going against Janet, and she's going against Bobby Brown, and she's going against Guy, and Keith Sweat, and Michael Jackson's about to do Dangerous. Like it's a real interesting period.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, because it was like you said, the Quiet Storm that her and Luther had, but now you got Bobby with these Quiet Storm jams that's getting it. You got the Janet Quiet Storms is getting it. You got even Guy going on there quiet. So it's like she's competing with them now. Normally it was just like, I got this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know I'm good.
I mean, they're doing slow jams too. That's a big difference. It's like their whole agenda is like, let's get you in the bedroom. Nita and Luther's agenda was like, let's get you ready for the bedroom. And it was like, it was just really interesting that a lot of these artists started to get on their turf and do their thing. And I just that whole period was really interesting, because I just like to see how those artists responded to that scene, because everybody kind of responded different.
Yeah. And now I think about, like, when I think about Compositions, the songs, they slow, but they're not ballads. They're like slow grooves. Like nothing, it's only like one song that's like slow, but everything else still has a wave to it. Like it's still a little, it's just like a slow motion two-step to the whole album.
Yeah. It feels like an easy listening jazz album, but mid-tempo. I think a lot of those artists started to put two and two together and said, well, we're not killing it on R&B radio like we used to. So who are we going to target this music to? So a lot of that music started to be targeted to the jazz stations, frankly. Easy listening stations that started to crop up and started to play all of that different type of music. So like, a song like Fairy Tales, I would hear it both on regular R&B out, a radio, and those jazz easy listening stations that my mom would listen to sometimes.
Mhm.
And I would hear that. So it was just real interesting how they kind of understood they were being a little bit phased out and they had to market the music to a bit more mature fan base, you know.
I agree with that. Because
Yeah.
go ahead, sis. Go ahead.
But I think about that time, and that target audience really was my mom and them, because she was older but not old, but she wasn't young anymore, and the New Jack Swing just wasn't like, it's select songs that she like in it, but as a whole, she wasn't like into it. Like it
Right.
just, I don't know, it's like it was just too big a jump for her. So
Yeah, it was
so that target audience,
it was
what?
aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, you know, our parents and, you know, older family members, they would just get tired watching us dance to it, you know? like, could you imagine being like in your, you know, you're in your 40s and all you kind of used to is, you know, like a certain type of R&B music, and now everybody's got to dance, like everybody's sweating up a storm. It's like frenetic. It's almost like crazy, and I'm pretty sure they thought like, wow, like I can't do that. I'm not going to be trying to do that on the dance floor.
Could we ever see Anita doing a New Jack Swing?
Never. You saw Luther though. You saw Luther do it.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of our legends do it.
A lot of them.
And it didn't usually come out well.
Yeah, sometimes it came out okay, but most of the time, no.
Yeah. And I think about when compositions came out, my mom would have been like 35, 36.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the target audience. But the kids got it because that's what those mamas that was 35 did.
They raised them on it. Right.
To clean the house, to, you know, and that's when those like kind of more contemporary R&B radio stations became a thing, because people didn't want to hear the rap. So you got the stations without the rap, and what you hear all day on that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All day.
Yeah. It really reminds me. It really reminds me of that Ice Cube sketch on America's Most Wanted when he was like, "Turn off that radio, turn off that motherfucking bullshit." When he was talking about R&B,
yeah,
you know, the guy gets on. He was like, "This is straight R&B. We're not playing any of that rap shit." You know, that was like 1990, the same year that Anita came out. So you got to understand, when that album came out, that was almost like a tipping point to when radio stations were still not trying to play hip hop during the daytime.
Mm-hmm.
Their go-to was Anita Baker's and the Luthers, and then you started to see New Jack kind of take their place in that. And then he started playing Guy and Keith Sweat and all of these people. So it was just crazy. That was almost like a blockade. Her style of music was a blockade for hip hop.
Yeah. That's why, honestly, it made it a little easier for Tony to come in, honestly. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it made a little easier, because now it's like it was like Tony was able to be she kind of took over what Anita was doing, but it was younger. You know what I mean? Like, it was able to.
Yeah, that's why people was giving them the same songs.
Right. Well.
And more pop too. A little bit more pop. Like Babyface was putting a little bit more sweetener in it. It wasn't as jazzy or as church as Anita was doing. Yeah. You can see it. Like, you can even see it when the way they would position Tony media-wise. You know, like, she would hang out with a lot of younger rappers, and you would see her, you know, doing tours with rappers. You know, you would not see Anita Baker touring with no rappers. No. That wasn't happening.
No. Anita been like, you crazy?
So it was a crazy era, man. I mean, especially as a hip hop fan, and you got one foot in, one foot out, and you're seeing it, and you're seeing the elder artists, the older artists, like, really, really get pushed down for the new generation that's coming up. But Anita's a survivor, man. She's always been able to survive no matter what, you know?
Oh yeah.
And speaking of the rappers, it's so funny that the rappers name check all these R&B people, you know,
Yes. Yes.
in
Like
their songs, in these classic albums. They're like,
or
you
like
know.
even when like Jada does an interview, Jada was like, yo, I have Anita Baker jamming in my house. Or he was like, when you know what I'm saying, he was like, yo, if I'm in my house chilling, I'm playing Anita, I'm playing Rapture, I'm playing, you know what I'm saying? And you would think, but this is 1990, and this is when hip hop is about to make that big leap. And
Yes.
you're not thinking that these guys are actually listening to this. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm confused because I'm like, well, why didn't it sound like this then? Because I'm like, if y'all was playing it and your mamas was playing it, why didn't it sound like Rapture then?
Yeah, I think the reason is because in the 80s you had no choice but to hear it because your parents, your mom, whoever was playing that music, and that was her system,
Right.
wasn't your system. So you had to go in your room and play your music, you know, in your boombox or tape, whatever you had to do. Also, you know, she was still part of the zeitgeist in the 80s. You know, you had EPMD referencing her, you know, Anita Baker haircut, you know, that whole thing. So she was part of it in the 80s, but I just think that by 1991, hip hop was becoming so rebellious and like, oh, you're not going to play us daytime? You're treating us, you know, we got to get on mix shows. We got to get played at night. That's when you started to see the pushback for artists,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then, but I mean, even though it didn't do like Rapture, she got a Grammy. She peaked number 5 on Billboard 200.
Yeah.
And it was her third platinum selling album. So I mean, it's so interesting how we do metrics. Oh, they fell out. But they did numbers that people wish they could do.
You right about that.
And have a longevity that people wish they could have, you know.
Yeah, that just speaks to her fan base, man. Her fan base is just so loyal to her. You know, it's like one of those things where I've seen fan bases, you know, kind of like, you know, just wrap their arms around certain artists and make sure that they're good.
Mm-hmm.
And she has that type of fan base. She's always had that type of fan base. So I wasn't surprised. I remember when that album went platinum and everybody was like, well, it didn't go quadruple platinum like the last album. And, you know, you would hear that. But I just think that she just existed beyond the sales. Like you can't really, you know, judge her on record sales. That's just
no.
That's not. She's beyond that.
Like Jimmy Jam always said, he didn't. Him and Terry Lewis stayed warm their whole career. They don't want to be scorching hot, then drop, then do this. I felt like even though she did platinum, Anita just stayed warm her whole career to me. Like it was never nothing. Because if you listen to all her albums, it's her. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing because by then, like y'all said, a lot of our legends was trying to compete with that new jack. And Anita's like, I'm just not gonna do that. Like I'm just gonna be really jazzy. You know what I'm saying? Like, because the Compositions album is completely jazzy to me. Like it's no
top
like,
to bottom.
you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like Giving You the Best That I Got had a little bit of, I guess, the pop appeal to it because of that song. You know what I mean? And how big that record was. But I'm like, this, to me, that's what I think is my favorite because I feel like it's a complete body of work. Like, I don't hear singles off of it. Even though some of these songs were singles, I don't even feel like they were singles, to be honest. And
the songs bled into each other.
Yes.
It's like I said, I think she made that album sonically in mind for what was happening on radio. And then you can, you know, you see Pieces of a Dream, you see all of these kind of like, you know, easy listening jazz groups really killing it mid 80s, late 80s, early 90s. Mm-hmm. And a lot of R&B artists got on to the whole easy listening jazz tag. Like it became like, it was no longer like, I'm not going to make straight R&B anymore. Straight soul is going to be targeted to the easy listening stations, jazz stations.
Right. That's why Anita said when she got her award for BET, and she was like, we need Quiet Storm stations again. She said, that's how I got put on. She was like, if it wasn't for that type of stations, it wouldn't have been no me. You know what I mean? That's why she was like, I feel like we need different types of, different genres of music. Cause she was like, you can't just play this person on here and play this person and think the playlist is going to be fine, even for these new kids. That's why she said you go overseas, you hear her, and then you might hear a Chance the Rapper on the same station because it's just music. But she said it's different out here. But she was like, we need Quiet Storm stations again so we can hear some real singing. That's how she said it. Y'all know how Anita be shady, but anyway.
I know, yeah. She's the queen of shade. Like she's not on Aretha's level of shade, but she's she'll give you some shade.
Yes, she will.
Ain't that right, JR?
Yes, very right.
Anita, unblock JR on Twitter, please.
Wait a minute. I need the backstory to that.
Okay, so let me
How did that happen? What did you do to Miss Anita?
Nothing. So what happened was like every morning, this was like when I first got on Twitter, like me and her would be back and forth. Like she'll be like, yeah, I'm going to get some coffee. How are you? I'm like, I'm fine. Da, 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 da. So somebody put up a tweet about her tax stuff. And I thought it was funny. So everybody that retweeted that, she blocked. Anita blocked everybody. It was funny. I was just like, yo, somebody said something about it. It was very funny. And I was like, yo, that's crazy. And I retweeted it. And then the next thing you know, I looked, I was like, she blocked me. And then there was other people behind me that was like, yo, I just got blocked by Anita Baker. And I was like, she blocked everybody that retweeted that thing about her taxes. And I have been blocked for the past like 4 years now.
That is the worst type of blocking, the secondhand blocking.
The secondhand. That's what I'm like.
Like what did I do? I mean, it's not as bad as, why did this person block me anyway? Like I've never really talked to this person, never dealt with him, and I got blocked. Like I don't get that. But yeah, that's
it was cool. She was like, I'm getting my coffee. I was like, yeah, I'm having my tea at work this morning. Like we went back and forth. Like one time on the Mary joint that when she did the performance with Mary on the BET, we was going back and forth. She was like, oh, thank you, honey, and darling, and all this. And I'm like, just because I found something funny, you gonna block me now? I was like, I'm hurt, Anita. But listen, I love you though. But
elders don't play around with that. They don't play games.
I see. So when I see something about an elder that's following me, I don't retweet. I just laugh. I'll be like, Elise, this is funny. And I'll say nothing. I'll be like, no, I ain't liking it. I ain't retweeting it. I ain't nothing. I done learned my lesson from Anita. That hurt my feelings.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, composition.
I ain't blocked though.
Good. Neither is R&B.
No, and no R&B representatives isn't.
Right. So I can still see you. Hey, girl.
Oh, hilarious.
Okay. All right. So let's get into this album. So the first joint, Talk to Me.
So before you say that, you just said about 5 minutes ago, JR, that none of the songs on the album sound like it could be a single.
Mm-hmm.
I think Talk to Me is the one song that actually, if you just listen to it, be like, oh, that's the single.
Okay.
Maybe.
But
yeah.
go ahead.
I can hear it.
Yeah.
And apparently they thought that because that was the first single.
That was the first single, right?
That was May of 90. That was the first single.
Okay. Maybe. I mean, I get that. But I gotta say, Greg Filling Gaines is like, to me, the second star of this album for real. Like,
yes.
Him and Vernon Fails and of Chapter 8. How about that? Look at that in the back. Yo, you just a show off. But but yo, like them three, I feel like are the stars of this album, yo. Like for real, them pianos and keyboards, like Oh my God. And that's what Greg did on this. Like him on the piano and she just vocalizing. Like it's just perfect. And I mean, he was on Rapture and he was on Give Me the Best That I Got. So it was just like by this time they know each other, they feeling each other. And I think with this record, I think it was just so dope. And the band, you know what I'm saying? They jamming, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Nathan East on the drums. Like, whew. Yeah.
Greg is he's one of those glue guys, you know. Like whenever he gets on a record, it's kind of like he keeps everything together, he keeps everything balanced, and he's got great taste.
You sound like Brian. Brian said that when we were talking about Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, and he was like, Greg made that record. Like, if it wasn't for him doing that break, it wouldn't have been what it been. So he was like, yo, Greg Feeling Haynes is
That's definitely one of the standouts on that album. Talk to Me. Is that I think that it's one of those songs that sometimes, you know, opening songs don't really grab you the way they should grab you or set a precedence for the rest of the album. That definitely sets the precedence for the rest of the album.
Especially go stand just right. That's when the song just take off for real. Like that's when the piano just when Greg just go off, and then the ad-libs, and then the piano just
yes.
After that, that's yeah.
That's why this album is so jazzy, because it was a focus on Anita's voice and the instruments to me. You know what I'm saying? And I just, like you said, Keith, I think Talk to Me, it brings you in. It's like, okay, Anita coming with it. She not playing. You know what I mean? Because the first song can kind of be like, wait a minute, might not, no. But no, with Talk to Me, she did it. She did it on this.
Yeah, and with Talk to Me, another reason I think it make a good single, it has an easy to sing along with chorus.
Right.
You know, she's not going crazy. She just kind of just regular singing on the chorus so that you can sing along.
Right.
Then you get back in the verses, you're listening. Or you're being dramatic, trying to, you know, but yeah. Or maybe that's just me.
Her.
You're doing the Anita dance. That's what you're saying. You swaying back and forth. That's what you're trying to say.
Exactly. That part.
Yeah. I think everybody's done that once in their life.
Yes.
Once a week.
Oh yeah, for you, once a week.
Okay, every day. But
oh man. Yeah.
But then we get to Perfect Love Affair. And you know what the star of that song is?
What?
Them Perry sisters.
Yes. I agree. That gave me Priceless or Giving You the Best That I Got, and the Perry sisters is on that. And they killing it. You know what I'm saying? So to hear this and them and like Anita she held that note, and then the girls come in, I was like, whoo.
You know, they don't get talked about enough.
They sure don't. No, they don't.
I mean, I think as background singers go, like they really, really embellished a lot of material that they were on. It wasn't just them just singing fills or singing background. So when you hear them on A Perfect Love Affair, you know, you're hearing artists, man. Like that, those are artists in their craft, and they're taking it seriously. And you know, they're really, really understanding how to interplay with Anita. They're not trying to sing over her. They're not trying to sing under her. They're just kind of like just following her and following whatever she's giving out on that track. They're gonna give it to her back. You know.
I said this. Wow, yep. They basically following behind her. Whatever she do, they like, all right, we got you. You do what you do.
It's not like Alicia Keys' background singer. You know. Like whoever that person is always gonna have to, you know, oversing a bit. If you
Who catch that?
Leave it at that.
I mean, whatever it takes.
Speaking of,
here all week.
Yeah.
Tip your bartender.
Try to fix.
That Whatever It Takes is a top 5 Anita song for me, period. I love this song, yo. Her, Gerald Levert, and Mark Gordon did what they had to do on this record. Like, it's like the bridge, the way Anita comes out of it, it's like on some Sarah Vaughan, Ella Fitzgerald type of feeling. I was just like, oh, and I would have loved, like in 91, to see her and Gerald do this live. How that would have worked.
It's interesting that you name Gerald. Once again, this is a transition, straight up transition to easy listening jazz.
Yeah.
And that man was one of the cornerstones of, of that whole era. Like he's, and it's just interesting to see her get deeper and deeper into that genre where she's working with people that are really killing that genre. Like they're in it. They're in that genre. Like that's their world. So when you hear a song like Whatever It Takes, it's kind of like you're hearing it's not as super, soulful or, gospel-y as her previous material, and it's not as like whimsical as some of her previous work. It's more like down-rooted and almost like a little dark sometimes, It's like it's not as cheery and hold hands,
Yeah. And yeah, this song is dark. And I mean, it's a song where somebody's basically like kind of begging begging somebody to act right or to love you, essentially. And so it has a darkness. And I mean, the way she comes in, I've always told, this is like this spooky undercurrent of pain in it, even though to kind of a layman, if you kind of listen to it, you kind of think it's a song like, oh, saying I'm gonna do anything for my boo, but it's like, but it's other stuff going on too. If you don't listen to the verses.
Right. It's very Sarah Vaughan-ish in delivery a little bit. Kind of like it's layered, emotionally layered. Like you get the sense that this person is out of, like, this person can do something really bad at any moment. If you catch my drift. Like, it's like this person's on the edge. Like, this is the last shot for love, like it's really, really, it's there's a painful undercurrent to it,
It is. Cause it's how she like hums at the end. It's like, I have nothing left. Like that's when she was sitting there, and I'm like, whoa. And it felt like, yo, I'm giving you all of this. I have nothing left to give. This is it. You know what I mean? And you felt that. You know what I mean? And I just love emotional records like this. So for me, it hits for me. That's why I just love how she did it. Like you said, the whole Sarah Vaughan type of thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? The way she's vocally approaching this record, I was just like, Anita, girl, like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, when this song comes in, I'm all in. You know what I'm saying? Because it feels like when it first started, it just, and then it just goes some low key. Like, it's like, okay, we about to go on this emotional ride. Let's do this, Anita. Let's do this. So I love Whatever It Takes. I love this record.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my, it's a standout for me, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes. And then we go into Soul Inspiration, which was the second single.
Yeah, that's interesting right there, because you're talking about Terry Britton now, who is one of those songwriters. When you look up their credits, you're like, holy shit! Like, this dude wrote "What's Love Got to Do with It?" This dude wrote Olivia Newton-John songs, wrote songs for Michael Jackson. Like,
well, he needed a makeup after Just Good Friends.
Well, listen, no one ever said the man didn't have, a little bit of corn DNA here and there.
Right. That's all. I was just like,
You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody
needed a makeup after that one.
but he's you know, like the British dudes when they kind of understand their own way of understanding Black music, soul music, you know, is interesting to me.
Yeah.
But he was never really totally in the black jazzy soul pocket. He was more in the I'm gonna make you a hit. Like this joint is gonna be all over radio. But it's weird when he gets with Anita, his songwriting becomes a little bit more insular, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's not as, you know, here's the chorus, you know, what's love got to do with it?
Yeah.
Here's the chorus, you know, like that's, to me, that's the type of songwriter he's always been. Like, okay, now wait for the chorus. Like he's that type of songwriter, but you don't really get that on his
Here goes the bridge.
Here's the bridge, you know, like here's the money shot, you know. This is not a money shot song. They're like, dude, this is very, very well paced, understated, and he's not trying to really showboat with the lyrics and the melody.
That's what I think too, and I feel like it has like a soft rock type of style to it, but then Anita puts her jazzy flow to it, and it works. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just kind of like, how is she gonna attack this record? You know what I mean?
Because it could have went real elevator.
Yes.
That's a fine line.
Yeah. It's
but Anita took it over enough to where it wasn't corny.
Yes, it's like if Anita went on a yacht rock, you know, track, how would that sound? And that's how it sounded. It sounded like, I'm not going to let you veer me too much into Christopher Cross on this one. I'm going to kind of, this is not going to be Sailing, which is a great song, by the way.
Black people love that damn song, bro.
Love that song.
You know, but
always for the blacks.
Yeah, it's the Black song. So yeah, it's like very, very, you know, yacht rock a little bit with a little bit of soul underpinnings and jazz because of Anita, what she's bringing to the table. But I just found that interesting that he would even write for, you know, write on this album, write with her, write, you know, for her.
Right.
Given his background, is like, it's less of that and more kind of like bombastic a little bit, you know?
Yeah. And Nathan East's bass line on this. Whew, I love.
He's another Quiet Storm guy.
Yes.
And all of these guys are like,
like, he's definitely one of them Quiet Storm dudes. Like, for real. Like, you really, and I think with this album, I think Anita wanted her band to get a lot of shine. You know what I mean? Because I think Greg Fillinganes said that they actually did this live. It wasn't like pre-recorded, you know what I'm saying? And then Anita came in and did a thing with it. They was like, yo, they were all live with it. And I think Anita, because if you see her live, she's serious about her band. Like, she don't play games at all. And I know it was one time I saw it's on YouTube, her band wasn't playing right. She stopped it. Like, she was like, yo, somebody's off. And I was like, well, that's Anita. I mean, she like that on Twitter. So, but I'm like, but I'm like, I get it. So when I listen to this composition, I'm like, yo, she let Nathan get a piece. You know what I'm saying? She let Ricky Lawson get a piece on the drums. Like, she wanted people to get their solos right, because she like, yo, I want my band to shine too. And for, you know what I'm saying, Terry, that's his name, Terry Britton, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Terry Britton to write something like this, and for him to be known, like you said, for What's Love Got to Do with it, and you these type of songs, and this is not that. It's completely different. And like, it could have went left. Well, if it did, I think it would have never made the album, because Anita would have been like, no, like, it ain't happening. But I love the record. I do.
Because one thing Anita don't do is album filler.
Oh no.
You get an Anita album, every song is.
It needs to be there. Yes.
It needs to be there.
Yes.
And it's few artists you could say that about, like, through their catalogs that, like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. And then where an album goes sad, lonely.
Well, she's the queen of that, right? Like
Yes.
she's like the.
But
Like
she was
her
giving
and-
you hints in the other songs that it's about to get sad. And you
It's
won't
like her-
listen.
Yeah, her and Sade are kind of like the quintessential torch song vocalists of their era, you know, and this song exemplifies that, like, you know, times 1,000. Like, this is the song that you do not want to listen to if you just broke up with somebody.
Oh yeah. No.
Like, just stay away from this and stay away from Sade's entire catalog for that matter.
Cause when I hear this song, I be thinking that I see Anita in like a blues lounge.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like sitting there
smoking
with a cigar.
smoking a square, like hunchback.
Smoking a square, like, I'm gonna tell you my story. I'm gonna tell you my story of a lonely girl. Like, and I'm just sitting there like, damn, it reminds me of the scene in Sparkle when Sister is singing, and like this is after she done got, you know, beat and all that. She's singing Giving Up at that blues lounge. And I get that from this record. Like, I feel like Anita is like, let me just talk to y'all about my story. And like, and she sings the hell out of it. But, and I'm like, sing, girl, please.
Yeah. And she says, and then after she tells you, I tell you, it's my story about lonely girls, she says, with no one to love her in the whole world. No, whole wide world.
Yeah, it's a pretty it's a pretty, like, somebody was putting her through the ringer, to say the least.
Yeah. And to think that because then she just getting married like a year ago before then. Yeah, she got married to her husband.
I mean, I don't know. You know, sometimes, you know, lyrics don't necessarily have to be.
That's true. That's true.
And it could be about another period in your life before that.
That's true.
Or something you saw somebody else going through, you know.
That's true.
But, you know,
that might not be her story.
So anything with Anita, it could be the case. You never know.
That's true. That's true.
But, you know, any woman in the world dealing with men's has a story, has this song in their playlist of their life soundtrack.
Yeah, it's one of those.
Have you met y'all?
we got songs like this in our catalog too.
I know, but I'm just saying, any woman
like you do not
in the world of y'all.
If a woman is playing this song and you're somewhere in the vicinity, just walk.
Leave.
Don't even say hi.
Be like, I'm out. Don't even speak. Like, because you know she pissed.
She's going through it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Whew. But yeah, she did write the song, so it was personal, and it won't nobody else writing credits on it either.
Yes,
it was just her. So
she wrote all them lyrics.
She learned her lesson from that first album.
Oh, that part.
Like, if you look at that album, I think she's only wrote maybe 1.5 songs on that first album.
Yep. She said she ain't getting nothing from that album. Nothing.
And after that, she was like, psst.
Anita said, okay, when I'm doing this, I'm doing it my way. You see, she is the executive producer after every album after that.
Not playing around.
No.
Yeah, it's only 2 songs in the album that she doesn't have writing credits on. And that's Whatever It Takes and Love You to the Letter.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's it.
Oh,
every other song.
Oh, wow. Damn.
Every other song, her name on it too.
I hear that.
Like, read the credits.
Do you know who I am? But yeah. Which, speaking of that, I think I've mentioned this on another show.
Yeah.
It's really people in this world that don't know who Anita Baker is. And I have feelings about that.
Yeah, you did say that one. Yes.
She's got one foot in Black famous.
Yeah. I'm talking about people my age and older. Not nobody, not no black people though.
Oh, okay.
I'm just
That's
saying
what I said. She's
the
black.
other
She's black
people.
famous. Yeah, she's black famous.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little different. You know, like
Yeah,
we can sell 3-4 million copies and still be black famous. It's
that
the weirdest
part.
thing.
That
Mm-hmm.
part right there.
The quintessential black famous is Frankie Beverly and Maze. Like they're like
Yep.
super quintessential black face. Like it's when
Absolutely.
Beyonce released that cover, all the white people was like, "Oh, it's a new Beyonce song." And people was like, "No, it's not new."
It's been in our life forever.
Forever.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no.
Ubiquitous at that.
Right. Right.
Yes. So then we get into No One to Blame.
I
That
like this one. I like this one. I think this might be one of my favorites off the album, actually. What do you think,
I can see
Janelle?
that.
it reminds me of No One in the World, how it starts.
How it starts.
Yep.
Yes.
It reminds me of that.
Yeah,
If
And
somebody played it with no context, I would think that that's what was about to come. And then I'd be like,
yes. And that's what I love what an artist does when they do an album. You know what I mean? Like all the new stuff, but kind of give me something familiar that I remember you by. So like you said, if you didn't, you know what I'm saying, you're new to this album and you hear, you like, wait a minute, this sounds like No One in the World. Like, okay.
and then it quickly shifts.
It's a quick shift, but it's like Anita's like, aha, familiar, right?
Yeah, it's a fake.
like,
It's
but
a,
no.
it's a fake. It's a fake out in the beginning. That's for sure.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like sometime now when I get to the chorus, I start singing No One in the World. I'll be like, wait a minute, no. This is not it. No.
You tried it.
badly.
No. But again, it's the Greg and Nathan show.
Period. Period.
I mean, you actually, and then you got Michael Powell on guitar and Paulina DaCosta on the percussion.
Oh yeah. He all over this album.
Or just about every song.
Yeah.
If not every song. Yeah.
Yeah. He don't get a lot of credit either.
Yeah, that's a whole interesting crew that she has on this album. Like I said, it seems like she looked at all of the liner notes for like all of the easy listening jazz and new jazz stuff, soul jazz that was coming out, and she was like, I want him, I want her, I want him, I want her, I want her, I want him. Seems like she really made a conscious effort to go for a certain type of groove with this album. Like you could tell that she was trying to like separate herself from a lot of stuff that was happening in black music at that point.
I can agree. And then I mean a lot of them was like Greg and Paul DaCosta, they were all on Rapture and Giving You the Best That I Got. So it was kind of like, okay, I want y'all with this, but then she brings in Vernon Fails and
yes.
Yeah, like she brings in them and it was just like, all right, I want y'all to come into this so we can have this new flavor, you know what I'm saying? But it's still me, but I want to do something different. I want y'all to really shine, you know what I mean? And I think that's what No One to Blame is one of those that they really get it in for real. So yeah, I like this one too.
Oh yeah, I like that song a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's the song before one of my favorites on the album is More Than You Know. I love
this song.
Yeah, it's a great song. It's a great song. I think she gets into cruise control by this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you're listening to it, this is when the songs started bleeding into each other, when you're like listening to it and it's almost like one long song. Like it's almost like she's in this pocket, and that song kind of captures that. I think she jumps out of that pocket after the song. Actually, I think she gets into something else after this. But yeah, I can definitely hear a lot of that. Her and the band really just locked in by the time.
Mm-hmm. Do y'all feel like this could have fit on the Rapture album? This song?
I would say it might have been able to be on the album after Rapture.
Oh, okay. Rhythm of Love. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it could have been on that one because it still had one foot in, one foot out, and I just think this is a really, really mellow type of, cool song. Like if you wanna, if you're like having a, brunch, this is the perfect song.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And in the songs on Rapture, okay, so songs on compositions, like everything rides out, like nothing ends succinctly. It's more of a jam session than Rapture is very like it's a collection of perfect songs, but she's not like riding them out in the end or nothing like that. Rapture is structurally very different from this album.
Oh yeah. I said this, I think I said this on another show. I feel like this song is like I Wish by Stevie, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I always feel like I wish Stevie lets everybody get a spot and they sound great with it. And I feel like this record, everybody is like getting a shine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she let people have solos on this. Like, she's letting Ricky have a solo with the drums, and she's letting the Perry sisters on background. Then you got, of course, Greg on the keyboards, and of course you got Vernon on the keyboards. Like, you got everybody on there, and then mind you, then you got the band singing background with her on this. So it's like the instrumentation is perfect on this. Anita's perfect on this. The background singers are perfect, and everybody is shining brightly on this. And I feel like these are one of the songs where everybody get to shine. So that's
would you say this is her most band centric album?
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say that.
Yes,
I think you can say that.
I mean, I think that's why I like it. It's why it's my favorite, because it's band oriented. Like it's her, but it's like, yo, I want my band to get some too. I want y'all to know everybody on this. You know what I'm saying? Because clearly Rapture, we all know Anita was like, I'm gonna shine on this. It's me. I want y'all to know it's me. You know what I mean? And it's like, my band gonna get a little bit, don't get me wrong. But then by the time she got to the next album, Giving You the Best, it was like, all right, I'm gonna bring the Perry sisters with me. Let them come on some, get they shine on background. But now we get the compositions. I want everybody to get this love. And I think that the band got so much love on this album. And I'm so glad that Anita did that. Because when I'm listening to this album, I'm not just listening to her. I want to listen to every piece of the song. And I think with this album, that's what happened. So yeah, band oriented. Perfect.
I mean, you asked why the album didn't do as well, because it was just one kind of long groove, and that's, you need the radio to sell things, and you need certain things, especially at that time, and then you had New Jack. That's why. So what she did was actually make an amazing selling jazz album. I would, jazz albums don't do those numbers.
Right.
So what she did was incredible.
Yeah, that's how I always looked at this album. Actually, I think it was like it was her response to everything that was going on. Because she probably saw some of her peers dipping their toe into that whole New Jack stream a little bit. And she probably noticed a bit of that, and she didn't get out. She didn't get down like that. She made an album that just did not correspond to what was happening during that time in terms of what was popular in Black music.
Right. And then for this album to get loved by the jazz community too, because y'all know jazz they shaky with people. I mean, Patrice Rushen dealt with that. You know what I'm saying? So for Anita to get this album and the jazz community embraces it, like they really embrace this, like, yo, we rock with this. Because sometimes they can be like, oh, this fake jazz. You know what I'm saying? Especially when coming to women, because a lot of women have done that. Again, Patrice Rushen, they was like, this is not jazz. This is not. And it's like, y'all loved her when she didn't have nothing that crossed over, but now that she does, it's kind of like, oh, this is fake now. And then Anita comes and does this, and it's like, oh, we accept this. So yeah. What our Black women in the industry go through. Whew.
And then we have Love You to the Letter.
This is the one you don't like? No.
It's okay.
You say it's okay.
If it was gonna be on there, it don't need to be in between my two favorite songs on the damn album. I tell you
that's why. That's what it is.
Well, it's okay. I like it.
It's like you got me. It's like I'm on this lazy river and then I hear fucking rock. Like it's like we was almost to Fairy Tales. That's my shit. We was almost there and then we hit a fucking rock and stopped.
I felt like she was such in a zone on this though.
No, my raps ran aground right there.
Vocally, she's on a zone with it. My only issue is the pacing of it, you know.
That sounds boring.
It's like it's what some people call sleepy time music a little bit.
When I touch that, it's a sleeper. like literally.
So I can't because you know I would play this album sometimes when I'm cleaning up a little bit. Like this album and the second and third Sade albums was cleanup albums sometimes, you know. And I would like when this song would come on, sometimes I would just go straight to Fairy Tales, you know.
Oh my.
Sometimes, not all the time.
Oh God. I felt like if you didn't know this was a jazz album, you knew it by this. Like this, like for real, like it was just like, I just feel like it's just 7 minutes of bliss for me. Like it's just so blissful to me. Like, I don't know. I'm just like, and then you know what I'm saying?
I don't be liking stuff if it ain't got a little bit of a groove to it. Like it. That's what you know. I get bored really easy. It got to be something, or you got to. For me to listen to the little boring ballads and stuff, like you got to be doing some wild acrobatic vocal shit, or I'm going to sleep.
I feel like they just following her. Like we gonna do what we behind you, Anita, and whatever you gonna do, we gonna follow behind you.
To nap time? Okay.
Yeah, I guess they were gonna go to sleep. I guess that's where they were going.
Okay.
Y'all
they succeeded.
That's funny.
No, and they like don't get me wrong, the band sound great, Anita sound great, but it just I think even if this would have been played somewhere else somehow, I might like it better, but it messes up it fucks up my high. That's what it is. This song is the person to come fuck up your high. That's what that song is to me.
You get it?
Well, I would not go that far.
Why would
I would just say that it's a little bit too long. That was almost my issue with it. Just a little bit too long.
Okay.
But it's a good song nonetheless.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
A little sleepy, but it's a good song.
But it's like I hold that against it of it where it is to where I like in my brain
right. So let's get to Fairy Tales. So we're gonna get to Fairy Tales now because I know you're itching to get to that.
She itching for a scratch for sure. Like she.
No, but I'm just saying, like, no matter how good the song would have been, if it's already in my mind, that's the song that messes up my flow. Then I can't appreciate it that it deserves probably to be appreciated. But I'm being honest.
That ain't nothing wrong.
Okay.
Boo, yeah.
Keith's gonna give me vertigo, but
sorry about that. I have to make sure the dog's cool because it looks like he wants to go out.
Okay. But yeah, and no, I wasn't even itching to go to fairy tales. We actually on the show we have talked about fairy tales in depth, and so I kind of got that off. Even though we gonna talk about it again, but like,
No, we can talk about it quickly. I always just found that that's one of her most appealing songwriting moments. You know,
Yes.
like it's her the most whimsical. She's having fun with the metaphors and the storytelling and the playing off of the whole children's fairy tale thing. Like it's like one of those type of songs where you could just tell that she's having a lot of fun.
mm-hmm. And you could tell the band's having a lot of fun, and the fact that she just let the piano just ride out.
I feel like that's when she's saying life starts over again. Like, and she's just letting it ride for like 2 minutes. Like, there's no vocalizing, there's no nothing. She just letting the music go.
Yeah.
And I like the way that she lets the band just ride out on it. It's just always, it's like I wait for that part, actually. Like that's the groove. I was like, oh man, hurry up and get to that part, because that's the part where it's just the band's really having a lot of fun. It's a fun song.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think you were surprised. I told you down here they would play the whole extended one.
Yeah.
Or during certain, like during that afternoon, not the morning showtime. That's when they, in like that
you
part, but like in the
edit.
But the afternoon radio, oh for sure.
That's they played in Chicago like that too. Yep.
Wow, it shocked me because I mean, like I've never heard fairy tales this version, the long version, the album version getting played on the whole version on radio. Like I would hear the radio edit and they will fade it out and go to the next song. Like I've never. So for you to say that it was played, the whole thing was played on like afternoon radio, I'm like shocked. Like, cause like Kiss in New York, like when they used to play fairy tales, I used to be like, okay. And then as soon as the music started, they faded. That's it. And I'm like, damn, we can't get the last 2 minutes. That's the best part of the song. Like, what are we doing?
New York's a little, it's like, hurry up.
Next. Yeah.
We slow down here just when radio was regional. So it reflected the town it was in.
All the time. She said that all the time. Radio was so regional. It was so different. Oh.
It was not the homogenized, thing of what it ended up becoming. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes. But yeah, gosh.
This album is just amazing. This will always go down as number one for me.
And that's the perfect segue to the next joint, actually, because I always thought the ride out music kind of like sets the stage for what's happening next.
Mm-hmm.
So
very groove oriented,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I love a groove. I guess y'all know that by now, right?
Right.
No, I like the way it transitions into that. I just think that her confidence on this album just overall is just soaring. I think now she's gotten so comfortable in herself where she's not worried about, is this a single, is this not a single, will this album sell like the last album? Like she doesn't seem to be caring about that on this album. It's cool.
I agree. I totally agree. I think this album is where she was comfortable because she did an interview I think this is back in like 94 or something when the new album was coming out. They was asking her about her different albums or whatever. And she said composition, she said, this is when I felt like I had it. I had it under control. Like I got it, you know what I mean? Because she was like, Rapture had to prove something, you know what I'm saying? And then giving you the best got me the worldwide, everybody loved me. But then she said, I got to composition where I wanted to do what I wanted to do. And it's reflected in this because she was like, forget about the singles, forget about all that. I want you to listen from 1 to 9 and love it. You know what I mean?
I never got a sense of singles on this album. Even when she was releasing it, like I never really thought of the album as a singles album.
Right. And none of the singles were number one either.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
It was like I just think that radio radio for the most part, you know, they accepted Anita, they loved Anita, but it was just like she was giving them something different, and they had to get on in on her terms and not the other way around.
Right. I agree.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, it's time for my favorite part of the show. And that is our, shut up, JR. That is word song association. And today's word song association is going to be songs in 90 that did make it to #1 that were Quiet Storm songs.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
That did make it to #1 in that very, very New Jackie year. All right. And you just tell me first word, feeling, or memory that makes you that song makes you think of. We are gonna start with Ready or Not by After 7.
Bougie as hell. This is like this is when you know you have your own music now growing up. Like this is when you start to say, oh, that's the older music. Like I'm listening to Ice Cube and Public Enemy, and you know, I'm listening to Redman, I'm listening to, you know, the Ghetto Boys, and that's older music now. Now looking back, it was great music, but now you're starting to see how the lines are you know, are dividing generations, and that's one of those songs where it was like, oh, you're not making that music for me. You're making that for, you know, it's my older uncle or somebody. Cool. Like now, because I'm older now, so I can look at it, laugh to myself, the irony of it all. But you know, was that written by Babyface as well?
Was it written by Babyface?
I think so. Him and Daryl.
I think
Him and Daryl wrote that?
Yeah.
He started to get deeper and deeper into his contemporary R&B bag. You know, I think he kind of like when he found Tony, he did it. He came back to the youngins a little bit.
Babyface in LA with a
it was Babyface in LA. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, the next one we have is Secret Garden, Quincy Jones with Albie Shore, James Ingram, Elder Barge, and Barry White.
Epic, actually. And I don't know how Quincy Jones got away with having hip hop kids loving that song. Like I kind of know by dropping Albie Shore in there is kind of like the way to draw people in. But
that's one of JR's trigger words.
I know. Oh man!
I'll start flashing the thing. Trigger word.
Oh God, no! I rock with Albie Shore. I do.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like that song captured like the zeitgeist of the last gasp of the Quiet Storm era before Mary and them just came in and said,
yep,
enough of that.
I agree.
You know, but yeah, it's a great song. Everybody brings their fastball, even Albie Shore, what he does on the record. El DeBarge, you know, El DeBarge and Barry White. Come on, man.
And James Ingram, yes, God.
James Ingram, he's the utility guy on there. Like,
listen,
he's always holding everything together. He's always the foundation on every song that he's on.
Yes.
And it's like effortless, you know. Like he just sings effortless. He could order, you know, God bless the dead. He could order a ham sandwich and it'll sound like he's like singing his heart out, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh. I want some ham and eggs, you know.
Right, though. He right.
It's like every lyric, it didn't matter the lyric. It could be a slow song. It could be a, song with Mike McDonald, the Yam will be there. Like it does not matter. He's always gonna like come on the record and just take you to church,
Yep.
Yes.
Part. That
Absolutely.
part. Yeah.
All right. All I Do Is Think of You by Troop.
Great. I'm gonna use two words. Great cover. It's one of those songs where you just forgot who recorded it previously.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do because you're talking about Mike, you're talking about the Jacksons, you're talking about, like they basically did what Jimmy did with Dylan with All on the Watchtower. They did with that song. Like that's their song.
Mm-hmm.
That's who I associated with now. I don't associate it with Mike and I associate it with Troop.
Yeah. I always think of Troop first. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. My man, Johnny Gill with My.
Can I
Hey,
tell you,
Johnny.
I
In case
hate,
you're watching, hi.
yeah, I hate that song.
I don't like that song though.
That's what I was about to say. Are we all gonna say we like this? Because
No, you never hear me say that because it's got all of the ingredients of what I kind of hated during that era because I was in my rebel era. You got Kenny G on there, like G. Even as a kid, I saw his name on it. I want to listen to no Kenny G.
Hell, Johnny didn't even like it when he heard it, right?
Of course he didn't like it, but it's one of those songs where the chorus is so massive, it's so infectious.
When he's singing live, he's singing for like 4 hours.
Yeah.
Every time I see him perform that live,
I mean that's the song that.
But
really,
you expect it though.
Yeah, that's
like if he didn't do it, you'd be mad.
It crossed him over to like a whole new demographic. That song.
It got him on Oprah.
Yeah, he started getting the old people like, I love that Johnny Gill. he started getting into that.
Yeah. That's facts.
That's a whole different disposable income right there.
And last but certainly not the least, we have another NE boy, and that is Ralph Tresvant with Sensitivity.
Classic. It's classic. Sooner or later, we just got to do another show for Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, just to show their greatness and how they're able to infiltrate every genre on the low. Because what they're doing on that is they're doing easy listening, Quiet Storm stuff with that.
Yes.
They are trying to get him on the same station as Anita Baker on that. When you listen to it, you hear it.
But it's sneaky because he gave it to a young person.
Yes. So young people are loving this song, not understanding the dynamics of what's going on musically.
Yeah.
Like this is the type of song that you would hear on radio stations that would not play hip hop.
And then they give him a little groove with it. That's
right. Oh. But the sneaky, this once again, this is how they're very sneaky with it. He does a rap in it.
Yep.
Yeah.
He does a rap on it.
Yes.
An easy listening rap.
And you couldn't drown out the rap. Like you couldn't gatekeep it, right? You couldn't mute it. You had to play it because it's it's part of the bridge. So you have to play that bridge. And I just chuckle every time I think about easy listening jazz stations playing that song and having to play the rap part, being forced to play the rap part because they couldn't really do anything about it.
Right, you couldn't cut it. Like you can't cut it.
But they didn't mind it because that rap was soft as cotton. So
yes.
He was sensitive.
It was supposed to. That wasn't a dig.
Oh no! I know you weren't digging. See, she coming at me like she did the last video.
But I'm wondering if there is a version without the rap. We got to look that up.
Oh, I wonder
after the show.
Yes.
Look up after the show.
Yes.
Because I wonder if they, because I just, the balls to even have that on that record is crazy to me. Like Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, they're probably like winking at each other, laughing at each other. Like, how do we get away with this?
I agree.
Oh, well, that was.
We actually got away with that one.
Gotcha, bitch.
Gotcha.
Yes.
This is fun, guys. Like whenever you have a show, you know, this is really
we
fun.
know we can talk anything with you. It's easy.
Yeah, this is combo. This is cool. When you have me on the next time, just we can talk about some remixes or something.
Oh yeah, I love the whole Jimmy Jam joint that you said. Like, just give them a whole show. Like,
I love to give them a whole show.
Yes,
that would be dope.
That would be so dope.
They definitely deserve.
Yes,
yeah, because they're sneaky, man. They hopped on the New Jack Swing thing, did it their own way.
Yes,
they hopped on the kind of like
the sample stuff.
The sample era, did it their own way. Then they hopped on the neo soul thing, did it their own way. Like very, very sneaky, man. Very, very great songwriters and producers. So.
Yes.
So yeah, man. Let's do this again, seriously.
Oh yeah, you know I be bugging you all the damn time.
And Anita, please, let JR back on, please.
Please, Anita,
please.
At JR World of Soul.
Yes.
Unblock that man. That man did not do anything to you, Miss Anita.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you.
And he love you, Miss Baker.
I do. I really
do, Miss Baker. He loves you to infinity. So don't do that man dirty.
Yeah, please. We can go back and talk about you having your coffee and I'm having my tea in the morning and we good.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah, I like that. There it is.
Great ending.
Great.
Yes. But Keith, once again, we appreciate you. We love you.
Thank you, man.
And we'll be back. Too. And we'll have you back to talk about our friends, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
Yes. The sneakiest producers on the planet.
On the planet, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yes. But yeah, do you have anything coming up interesting or fun that you want to tell us about or that you can tell us about? Because he be on top secret missions and shit.
Yeah, some things I can't talk about, but
told you.
I am doing some stuff with Hits Magazine and for their Black Music Month issue that's going to be coming out. Actually, I'm doing something on Black country artists that's going to be coming out for their Black Music Month issue. So that's cool, talking about Jimmy Allen and all of these Black country artists that's killing it right now. So
love it.
Valerie June.
Yeah, all of them. All of them.
I like her a lot.
It's got some stuff, man.
Yes.
Well, y'all, we appreciate you for tuning in. So like and share and subscribe so so we can have some more family, some more cousins over here, and we Black, we all family, and we will catch y'all on the next Catch That. Peace.